I'll wait for that a little bit later. Okay. In contrast, apap 2007 instead infused artworks throughout the city, establishing contexts for art for local citizens and visitors of Anyang more directly, and even within their daily life. The dispersed location of artworks in apap 2007 created, in my opinion, a kind of a narrative landscape through which the viewers could meander through various places within Anyang, connecting them to give sense of city as a whole. In many ways, the apap 2005 art park was enlarged in 2007, extending itself to attempt to embrace the whole city. But mostly it's, as Kim Song she mentioned, it's mostly in the center of the Pyeongchon area. Sorry, I lost myself. Because of these powerful precedences, the first two apap, the 2010 version will, although it be distinctly different from the first two, still is linked to the evolution of apap as a whole. 2010 will continue to extend itself into Anyang even further, and would also be both an investigation and contribution to the making of Anyang City, as the first two apap has been. The concept of apap 2010, however, will take the same history of first two, but it will turn inside out. The context, relation, and territoriality of art from the previous two. I will try to illustrate this point now. Oops, sorry. Okay, I would like to say, like, basically, fundamentally, three subjects of art. They're not the only subject, but these are three that I can talk about that make sense to apap. One is the context. So the first apap is like this. Okay, it's an enclosed space in which art is located, and the public is to be surrounded by art in the absence of the city. The 2007, by the way, A, round letter circle A, is art pieces, okay? 2007, the art is dispersed throughout the city, and the urban landscape becomes the important contextual background. The 2010 will try to continue that direction, and would try to make the art the part of the actual environment by integrating art directly into urban landscape. As you can see, apap 2000 continues the first two apap's concept, extending further by eliminating the separation between context and art, so that art and context can be fused together to become one and the same. Okay. Another way to understand this fusion of art and context is to say that, well, I would confess and admit that I have this sinister thought that apap 2010 is less concerned about art, instead is more interested in the city. That's a myth, okay? And art, in this case, is the language and tool to understand the shape the city, more than being a, let's say, for example, sculpture, okay? Thus, apap 2010 takes the notion of Anyang as an art city a little bit further, that is, from Anyang with many arts located within the city, to Anyang, the city is built by the arts, or through the arts. So the art becomes a tool and the process, not an object. Okay? Second point is about making the talking about the relation between art and the city. The first illustration shows, this one, that the traditional relationship between the art and the city, where the object of art dominates the site, as the art is the central focus, while the surrounding site around it is merely served as background, or maybe just even space needed around it in order to properly view the art. Here, art is distinctive object to be viewed and appreciated for its own self-contained meanings and values. Art is the center of attention, a relation that gives the dominance of art over the public. Here, it is to be admired and be left alone as a static object. Well, you know, like, don't touch the art kind of thing. And is not required to actively participate in the daily life of public in a constant and practical manner. There's always a question about what's the function of art, right? The existence of art is a condition of temporary relation and is functionally limited. You cannot use them for some practical purposes, nor can you take them home with you to school or offices. They are fixed objects with limited purposes, such as to bring beauty to particular locations or to help to create a sense of place or identity to their location, which are admirable and endearing, but in my opinion, not enough. Therefore, my next illustration shows how APAP 2010 wants to turn the relation inside out. Here, the relation between the art and the city is reversed. Art is in the service of the city to be used to investigate and implement various ideas and projects that help to improve the city and its urban landscape for its citizens. This diagram suggests that art should be applied and be used in the making of urban landscapes more directly, not an isolated object within urban landscape just to be admired. In a sense that this is about dissolving art as an object. This diagram proposed that art is a tool for the making of the city, giving it functionality and practical application that could improve the daily life of public. This is the goal of 2010. In short, art is a tool, not an object. The final point that I would like to make is the territoriality of arts, territories. The first illustration shows that art, public, and the city remain separate territories with some minor relations. Their contexts are from the sharing of same space, in this case, the city of Anyang, but they lack relation in terms of use and purposes. In some cases, the territory of art, public, and cities are even more separated. For example, you often hear, "What do they do for me?" from the citizens of Anyang. And this complaint is actually legitimate. APAP was created to make Anyang nationally known as our city. This effort is within the competition for identity making between most large cities in Korea, including Seoul. Of course, there are real benefits and pride to the people who live within the art city as well. But the real purpose of this identity building has been mostly directed toward the national territory or audience of Korea. And that means outside the civic territories and citizens of Anyang. Another complaint from the citizens of Anyang is a lack of